Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 6, chapter number 11, text number 24. Aham Hare Tava Padai Kamula Dasanudaso Bhavitasmi Bhuyaha Manasmaratyasu Pater Gunamste Granita Va Karma Karotu Kayaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. O my Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, will I again be able to be a servant of your eternal servants who find shelter only at your lotus feet? O Lord of my life, may I again become their servant so that my mind may always think of your transcendental attribute, my words always glorify those attributes, and my body always engage in the loving service of your lordships. Purport. The verse gives the sum and substance of devotional life. One must first become a servant of the servant of the servant of Lord, Dasa Dasa. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised, and he also showed by his own example, that a living entity should always desire to be a servant of the servant of Krishna, the maintainer of gopis, Gopi Bhartupada Kamalayor Dasa Dasa Anudasa. This means that one must accept a spiritual master who comes in the disciplic succession and is a servant of the servant of Lord. Under his direction, one must then engage one's three properties, namely his body, mind, and words. The body should be engaged in physical activity under the order of the spiritual master, and mind should think of Krishna incessantly, and one's word should be engaged in preaching the glories of the Lord. If one is thus engaged in the loving service of the Lord, one's life is successful. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. So this is a very nice verse, and Prabhupada in the purport explains this verse is the sum and substance of devotional life. Where it is being mentioned that may I again become your servant, so that my mind may always think of your transcendental attributes, my words always glorify those attributes, my body always engage in the loving service of your Lordship. So Prabhupada explains that first one should become servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna or Lord, Dasa Dasa Anudasa. This means that one must accept a spiritual master who comes in the disciplic succession and is a servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord. So all of us are very fortunate. First and foremost, in this world, not many people are spiritually inclined in this material world. Even if people are religious, it's for material gains, it's to fulfill their material desires. And even if we come across somebody who is spiritually inclined, has some bhakti, has some devotion, still we find that there are so many gurus who are not bona fide. They may have desire to surrender, to serve with body, mind, words, but they may be doing it to someone who is not authorized, who is not coming in disciplic succession. So Srila Prabhupada is a bona fide guru, he is a pure devotee, he is coming in a disciplic succession, he is a servant and servant of Krishna, and we are trying to be his servant. So today we'll discuss about the services what we render the devotional life what we are leading, some pitfalls, some Lord Brahma in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam is offering prayers to the Lord. In the prayer he is offering because he has been assigned the task of the creation. Prajapati Brahma. So he is praying to the Lord that while I am engaged in your service, in the so-called material activities, creating. So he is saying, let me not be subject to illusion. Because we have some leelas, some pastimes where even Brahma is bewildered. So then Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport, just like Lord Brahma, who is the supermost being, he is afraid of falling down and is praying to the Lord for protection. Similarly, we all should always pray to the Lord for protection. Because this Maya, this illusory energy of the Lord is very powerful. Mohyanti Suryaya. Surya means even big devatas. We have example of Shiva, Lord Brahma, and other Indra. They all are demigods. They are not like ordinary living entities. So anytime we can be subject to illusion, we can forget Krishna, we can be overcome, we can be overpowered by pride, arrogance, anger, kartaham iti manyate. So we have got this opportunity to serve a pure devotee. Somehow, our good fortune, we have come in touch with Srila Prabhupada. But we should always have fear of falling down. Now, on one side, we should say we should be abhayam, we should be fearless. But there is healthy fear that I can fall down. And that fear will inspire us, motivate us to pray to the Lord feelingly. Just like Lord Brahma is praying. In spiritual life, everything has a place. Even fear has a place. Even anxiety has a place. Srila Prabhupada uses this word in one place, very nice. He says, Krishna anxiety. Sometimes we think that spiritual life means it should be all very. And generally, that is the understanding people have. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And ultimate goal for many people is to achieve absolute peace. Common, if you see, understanding of this thing is Shanti, peace. Peace of mind, peaceful life. So Srila Prabhupada explains about Krishna anxiety. Just like I was telling, Brahma is fearful of fall down. What is Krishna anxiety? Anxiety for Krishna. Then Srila Prabhupada explains what is material anxiety and what is Krishna anxiety. If we are anxious about ourselves, our future, our security, what will happen to me in old age? Who will take care of me? That is material anxiety. But if we are anxious, how will I preach? How can I reach this message to more people? How can I distribute more and more books? Srila Prabhupada said, if you can distribute more and more books, but I am not able to do it, how can I do it? That anxiety is Krishna anxiety. Then Srila Prabhupada explains that how even Mother Yashoda is anxious about Krishna. Is Krishna safe? Demons they may, come and disturb Krishna. So she is always in anxiety. So then Prabhupada explains that this anxiety is good. This Krishna anxiety will purify us. He gives example that everyone in this world, those who even God conscious, they consider God as our Father. Even in Christianity, our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Father means Father takes care of the child. You ask something to the Father and Father will provide. So, whereas a devotee of the Lord, he does not ask Krishna, he is not taking Lord as order supplier, but he wants to serve the Lord. He is anxious to fulfill the orders of the Lord, anxious to meticulously obey the instructions of the Lord. So, this Rupa Goswami, he explains that if eagerness to serve Krishna, if somewhere it is available, even with millions of dollars, you should go and buy it. So likewise, Prabhupada explains this Krishna anxiety is not a cheap thing. And we are getting a glimpse of, sometimes in our service there is anxiety, the pujaris, they are running, it's getting late. That is just to trigger, just to give a glimpse of what is Krishna anxiety. Or we are running morning, Mangalarti, everyone is rushing, getting late. I should not be late, I should reach on time. That anxiety is Krishna anxiety. So as I was mentioning, fear has a place, anxiety has a place, but in a pure form, that anxiety which kills us, anxiety which increases our blood pressure, anxiety which gives us hypertension, blood pressure, that is material anxiety. So Krishna anxiety is where we are anxious how I can become a nice devotee, how I can chant my rounds nicely, why I am not able to chant nicely, why my mind is getting, how can I do it? So Madhu Prabhu in one place he was mentioning that in spiritual life, Krishna is sentient. Just like any other person, he has feelings, he has emotions, he is watching, he is knower of everything, he is there in our heart. He knows our intentions. Behind every activity, what is the intention? For whom are we doing? So, we should constantly introspect. What is the motive behind for whose pleasure am I doing? Many times we may be doing things, but for whose pleasure? Whose satisfaction? It could be for our own satisfaction. It could be for our own glorification. It could be for our own name and fame. I'm a bigger devotee, I'm a better devotee, I'm a stronger devotee, I'm a senior devotee, I'm an advanced devotee, I'm a pure devotee. One time Srila Prabhupada wanted all the devotees in the movement to cooperate. He explains that what is Sankirtana? This I just made a note of it. Prabhupada explains, there is a Sanskrit sentence explaining what is Sankirtana. Bahubhir militva kirtayate Sankirtana. What is Sankirtana? Bahubhir militva. When many come together, kirtayati, and they glorify the Lord, it is called Sankirtana. And ours is a Sankirtana movement. Sometimes when we are living in a community living has a lot of advantages. Sankirtana is possible. Bahubir Militva, coming together. Srila Prabhupada was once explaining purport of one particular bhajan, and there he explains that even Lord Chaitanya, even though he is Lord himself, but he is saying, how many fruits can I distribute alone? So then he explains that even he was explaining to the devotees, this was in the US, so he was saying, even I, old man alone, how much can I do? Today, because all of you are there and you're helping me push this movement, I am getting the credit. And then Prabhupada quotes this word, Bahubir Militva Kirtayate Sankirtana. Then he says, everyone should come together, cooperate to distribute this message of the Lord, to glorify the Lord. Alone, then he says, united we stand, divided we fall. Srila Prabhupada also said, this movement will go on. Nobody can destroy this movement from outside. It can only be destroyed from inside, from within. Dissension, quarrel, hypocrisy. So, then he says, let all of them come together. And then he says, let the Muslims, let the Christians. Prabhupada had a very broader vision. Sometimes, even in the name of religion, we see a lot of fights, a lot of conversion happening. Because their understanding is, my God is better than your God. My religion is better than your religion. So everyone should follow my religion, my faith. But Prabhupada said, let all Christians, Jews, everyone come together, Muslims. Let us all glorify the Lord. And then he says, very nice expression, he says, just like in a garland, you see this garland? We have white flower, we have orange. Likewise, we have many colorful garlands. When there are many multicolor flowers, it looks more grander, more appealing than just one flower. So let all of them come. Here also, you see, we are all, if we analyze ourselves, we have devotees from all different parts of the country. So we all come together, we all unite, we all serve the mission of Srila Prabhupada, united. And that will really take this movement to the next level. Once there was two group of devotees, they had some misunderstanding, some fight. And they informed Prabhupada that these two groups have got formed. And there is a lot of misunderstanding between the two. So Prabhupada said, no, they should give up their differences and try to come together and work together. Then the devotee says, Prabhupada, we have tried, but it doesn't look like they'll be able to work together. So then Prabhupada said, the root cause of dissension is envy. Sometimes even we can become envious of our God brothers. Envious because somebody has some good qualities. Envious because somebody has better service. Envious because somebody is doing better than me. So it says root cause of dissension is envy. Matsarya. Even the root cause why we have come in this material world is envy. Envy of Krishna. Krishna bhuliya bhogavancha kare. So we have forgotten Krishna and we have wanting to envious of Krishna, why Krishna is the enjoyer, and we have come in this material world. So likewise, envy is a very dangerous thing. Prabhupada says dissension, the root cause is envy. So we should always be little introspective. What is my motive for the service? Am I envious? We hear somebody doing better, somebody collecting better, or somebody with this thing. What happens in my heart? What is my feeling? So envy, just like Prabhupada explains, Krishna anxiety. Are we angry? The spiritual life, just by reading, just by memorizing verses, not necessarily we can make spiritual advancement. Not necessarily we can get vijnana, realizations. We can get knowledge. We can get information. We can memorize all the verses. But to get realization, we require divya gyan hriday prakashito. So for that, we have to take Krishna anxiety. Whatever authorized service, even if it is not very pleasing to the mind. Just like Lord Brahma, he's been given the task, create, but he doesn't know how to create. Complete darkness. So when we do our assigned service, take anxiety, there is an element of sacrifice. Mahaprabhu in one place says, when we sweat for Krishna, sweat for Krishna means take anxiety, take pain. Prabhupada took so much of pain, so much of anxiety. He was very nicely settled in Vrindavan. Total spiritual environment. Samadhis are there, Radha Damodar Mandir. The deities are there, Kirtan is going on. Once when he was in Bombay, he went to Sumati Murarji's. He was going quite frequently, trying different things to somehow get passage to America. So his office staff members one time comment, Swamiji, such an old man, why do you want to go to America? Do you want to go and see America and enjoy there? Generally, when anybody goes to America, there is an element of, oh, it's a prosperous country, so much of sense gratification is easily available. So Prabhupada said, I'm an old man, what is there for me? My life is all over. Then he says, people are suffering there because of lack of Krishna consciousness. I am going there so that I can do some good to them. That's why this is the mood. That's why Prabhupada in the Jaladuta writes, oh Lord, why are you taking me to a horrible place, miserable place? What is material vision? Oh, prosperous country. What is spiritual vision? Bereft of Krishna, it's misery. So Prabhupada had that spiritual vision. Once Srila Prabhupada went to Amritsar, Golden Temple. So he went around, he saw the temple, very divine. And then they took him to a place where they make chapatis. They have a very big langar, so he saw that, they took him around and a lot of volunteers doing seva. Actually, there is some learning for all of us. In Amritsar, in Golden Temple, people come in Mercedes Benz and some big cars, rich people, but they will come and do some menial services. The service of collecting the slippers is in great demand. A person may park his Mercedes, he'll come and, do the slipper service. Sometimes in our mind, this thing can come, this is higher service, lower service. There was one devotee, I don't want to name. So sometimes, we have assistant pujari service, different services. So we have, bhaktas do this service, other. So that devotee was 6 or 7 years in the movement. So he was assigned some service which apparently bhaktas were supposed to do. So he became very upset. And then when tried to inquire, he said, this service only assigning to me, but Later on when we dug, my peers, they are not assigned this service. So he's feeling, how can I be assigned this service? So these all are anarthas. We have to be watchful. Srila Prabhupada says, those who are envious will dry up. Our spiritual life will dry up. Those who are sincere, they'll flourish. So if we are finding our service boring, hackneyed, spiritual life very dull, somewhere we are short-circuiting. Otherwise, spiritual life is full of ananda. Susukum kartum avyayam. Even Krishna says, when we short-circuit, envious, when we don't cooperate. So Srila Prabhupada in the Golden Temple, when he saw everything, he was very impressed. He saw so many devotees volunteering their services with Seva Bhav, doing service. So then while he was coming out, while he was his visit, he was about to leave. So then they asked, would you like to sign in the guest book? Just like in Akshaya Patra, we have a guest book. So you can write some testimonial, some feedback. So Srila Prabhupada said yes, and then he started writing. Then he wrote very divine experience. He made sure that the devotees who are accompanying him also, they see that what he has written, divine experience. And then in that book, name was there, visitor name, and then because maybe people come from all over the world, religion also was mentioned. So devotees were curious. Prabhupada had written divine experience. Named Prabhupada wrote A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Religion. Can anyone guess what did Prabhupada write? Krishnite. See, Prabhupada was at a very different level of consciousness. Always Krishna conscious. Always thinking of Krishna. What is material consciousness? Wherever Krishna is possible in a conversation, Krishna is eliminated. When we meet together sometimes, if we are not careful, we are meeting together but we'll talk about something. Oh, this is happening, India-Pakistan war, it shouldn't have happened. Whereas a devotee, wherever Krishna is not there also, Krishna is brought in. Because always Krishna, what is there inside will come out. One time in a class, a teacher was giving a demonstration to the students. She took an orange in her hand and he said, if I squeeze this orange, what will come out? So the student said, orange juice will come out. So then the teacher asked, are you sure? He said, yes. Why the orange juice will come out? So students started, wondering, what kind of question is this? If you squeeze orange juice mango juice will not come out. Why this orange juice will come out? Then one of the students, because it is orange and inside it is orange juice. What is inside will come out when you squeeze it. So likewise, Prabhupada also explains that verse is there, bhajan karo, antakale, at the time of death it will all be tested. What is inside, what is there in our consciousness, with whom we are attached, that will come out. So we have to be introspective. What is going on inside? Am I envious? Am I jealous? Am I thinking of Krishna? Here it is said, one must engage three properties, namely body, mind, words. Mind should always be thinking of Krishna incessantly. Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada was once asked, what will please you the most? Direct question. And we know, Yasya Prasadat Bhagavad Prasado, if you please the spiritual master, Krishna is pleased. Because he is a bona fide, authorized representative of the Lord. So direct question, what will please you the most? And there are many quotes, there are quotes like, if you distribute my books. Many instances, many contexts Prabhupada has given, what will please. So in this particular thing, Prabhupada says, if you become cent% Krishna conscious. If you become Krishna conscious, that will please me the most. And then he says, be Krishna conscious and try your best to make others Krishna conscious. Because people are suffering because of want of Krishna consciousness. So we are in this Krishna consciousness movement. Our goal should be Janma Sartak Kari, be Krishna conscious and work cooperatively, Sankirtana, together to spread Krishna consciousness. So dealing among ourselves, not be envious of others, be in the mood of being servant of servant of servant. We should also know, I am a servant of Prabhupada. No, I am servant of the servant of servant of servant of Prabhupada. Prabhupada explains, the more, you add more servants in the chain, the better servant you are. Then Prabhupada explains that how when we say Prabhu, it is not just for the name sake. We say Prabhu, actually we should mean it. Prabhu means he is my master, I am his servant. How can I serve you? Many times the danger is things become very ritualistic. We may call Prabhu because that's a culture. We may call Prabhu, but heart, consciousness is not that he is my Prabhu. I am a senior devotee, how can I serve him? No, I am his servant. Even if a person may be a leader, even if a person may be in a senior position, his consciousness should be, I am a servant. I am scolding him so that I can serve him. Not in the mood of lording over. Once Srila Prabhupada, a lot of guests had come, priests had come from church. So the discussion was happening. We see many pictures of Prabhupada discussing with the priests. So the priests came and they were having conversation. Suddenly, after some time, the nuns came because they got late. So they also joined the conversation. So then the priest introduced Prabhupada. He is the spiritual master of the entire movement, of this Krishna consciousness movement. They were telling to the nuns. And Srila Prabhupada very mildly, softly, devotees could hear, others didn't hear. He said, I am not the spiritual master, I am a spiritual servant of my devotees, my disciples. Even Prabhupada chastised, but with the consciousness of making them Krishna conscious. So when we are serving, are we in a lording mode? What is our motive behind what I am doing? Am I cooperating? Am I obedient? Am I reckless in my interactions with others? When Srila Prabhupada came to Los Angeles and devotees knew that Prabhupada is coming. So there was a tulsi plant they wanted to keep in Prabhupada's quarters. So but the dress for the Tulsi Maharani had become very worn out. So all of a sudden a Mataji was called. They were newly married, young couple. So Mataji was called and said, Prabhupada is coming tomorrow. We need a dress for Tulsi Maharani. Can you please stitch? See, Westerners, unlike Indians, the women are exposed to some of these things, stitching, knitting and all those things. For them, stitching. So that Mataji, newly married young couple, that Mataji whole night, because next day Prabhupada is coming, whole night she was awake and she was To the best of her ability, she was trying to stitch the skirt for Tulsi Maharani. So next day morning, after Mangalarti, 5 o'clock, 5:30, she went to the devotee and showed, "This is what I have prepared." Moment the devotee saw, "What nonsense have you done? What have you made this?" Because it's such shabby. How can we put this to Tulsi Maharani? So that lady, whole night she was awake. She started weeping, started crying, inconsolable. Husband tried to, newly married, tried, no, please understand. No. So she was weeping, unconsolable. And then somehow, because there was no other dress, they adjusted and, made Tulsi Maharani wear that dress. So then Prabhupada, when he came, the kirtan happened, then Prabhupada came to his room, came to his quarters. Moment he entered, he saw that Tulsi Maharani. And he said, "What a wonderful dress, beautiful dress. Who has made it?" And that Mataji also was there, started crying. Earlier also she was crying, now also she was crying. Material anxiety, Krishna anxiety. Crying for this thing, ego got hurt or whatever somebody hurt, here out of ecstasy. If Prabhupada were to look at faults of all the devotees today, the movement would have not been the way it is today. So likewise, as devotees also, we have to overlook some of the faults, some shortcomings. What is the intention? That Mataji's intention was good. Once Srila Prabhupada went with the devotees to a rich person, very prominent person in Calcutta. So he had invited all the devotees for prasadam, for the lunch. A rich Marwadi gentleman. So all the devotees had gone. So the Mataji had taken a lot of pains and she had cooked for all the devotees. Generally people have that, they were not ISKCON devotees, but very pious religious family. So sadhu, bhojan. So they invited Prabhupada, they invited devotees also. So the devotees sat and they started serving with lot of devotion. They touched the feet of Prabhupada and made them sit and started serving. Then one devotee is sitting next to Prabhupada. So moment that sabji was served, Mahaprasade, all that happened, and then he ate onion. There was onion in sabji. So Prabhupada said, "No onion, eat." No onion, eat. One time I remember in APH, one time prasadam was served. Similarly, one devotee, some cockroach, chota sa, it came in the sabji. So the devotee made a big cockroach. Every devotee in APH went and showed. He took that in the hand, made sure that everyone this thing and all that. I'm sure the cooks wouldn't have deliberately put it as a tadka. So intention. What is the intention? We have to be careful, empathetic. Everyone has strengths, everyone has weaknesses. Nobody has come here to spoil things. Bahutva, bahubhir militva. If we stand alone, nothing can happen. Today we are all together doing something big, we are being recognized. It's a big force. Yes, some Krishna conscious sitting alone in the home we can practice. But organization, it has a big impact. People recognize. Today ISKCON, everyone knows in the world. Militva, together. But when it's together, then community living, community dynamics, interaction, cooperation, envy, jealousy, all that will come in place. And that's where we should see how a pure devotee, acharya, how he lives. What is his consciousness? What is his thinking? How we should engage in Krishna's service? How we should relate with our God brothers? With what mood we should relate? What should be our consciousness? All these base qualities are there. Envy, jealousy, anger, all this is there. But how did Prabhupada relate with this? So when we follow in the footsteps of great acharyas, we learn from their dealings, their leelas. We should also try very humbly to follow in their footsteps. We cannot imitate, but follow in their footsteps. And only when we cooperate together, live together, serve together in the right consciousness, right mood, then we'll flourish up, when we'll blossom. Our Krishna consciousness will blossom, we'll become brighter devotees. We'll also have a sense of satisfaction. Yes, I am growing in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, we'll stagnate. Krishna consciousness will become hackneyed. Prabhupada also explains, galagraha, it will become a burden. Daily morning we have to get up. Daily morning, same arati we have to do. It will become hackneyed. Prabhupada said it will dry up. Just like a plant, if you don't supply water, it will dry up. So if you're not Krishna conscious, if you're not serving with the right mood, right consciousness, then we'll dry up. Our consciousness will dry up. So we'll stop here. Grantharaj, Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.